Did you know that TF2 has fan spin-offs that range from crappy Five Nights at Freddy rip-offs to fully fledged, hours-lasting Undertale remakes? Until this week, neither did I. So in this video we will explore every single fan-made TF2 spin-off I could find, leaving the very best one for the end. Starting with... Midnight Mercenaries is an obvious remake of Hotline Miami, but is held to a high standard. In it, you have to either take a role of a hitman or someone who is a crazy gunman that will destroy anyone in his path. You get to pick between a few classes throughout the game and enjoy sneaking up on enemies, baiting them into other rooms, taking away their weapons and so on. I had a blast playing it and felt like this game deserves to be earning money. It features some creative stuff that I don't want to spoil, but I can assure you this is not just a brain-rotting room-clearing service simulator. 10 out of 10. This video is sponsored by Red Shadow Maggots. Just kidding. But this project from Brogrammist deserves an entire video about it, hence I will be delaying my opinion on it until I publish that video rather soon. I don't do well with horror games. A good horror game really gets my legs shaking. Spite's Nightmare was a game that at first looked like a breeze, as the concept was really simple: capture the intelligence. So I started doing my runs, and then he saw me. So I did my best to get the intel and bring it back. I really wanted this to be over, and as I was skipping through the rooms and finally saw our base, I realized that I will have to repeat this 2 more times. The heavy chasing is unsettling. It's hard to call it scary, because while you don't really fear getting jump scared, you really fear being caught. And every run you do, the paths that you can take get fewer and fewer. Only during my last run when Heavy got super close did I realize that I can actually sprint. So I did. I ran and ran until it was over. And I thought I was safe, but then I stepped outside. And I realized, this is just the beginning. I won't spoil anything else, as you should really try it out. The art style is gorgeous and the game is pretty fun. I really wanted to keep going. While I wasn't able to try out this game since I sold my VR headset a few years ago, I must say this looks like a crazy adventure that any rocket jumping soldier should take. It would probably be the last time they used VR due to an insane amount of nausea that this game would induce them with, but nonetheless, it looks like something I would absolutely love to try, so kudos for the creator of the game, because it's awesome. TF2 Personality Quiz.
No! 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 No!
Can we end this video right here, please? Please, please. TF2 Arcade. This game was released in 2011, which is when I first tried it. Playing it more than a decade later, I must say that it definitely stood the test of time. The creator of the game has also made Halo and Left 4 Dead side-scrollers prior to this one, so he sure as hell had some experience constructing a great arcade game. This game lets you play as any class and features 9 stages and 1 more level to beat the final boss. You can play local co-op with up to 4 friends, if you have them, making it a very cool retro venture for you and your buddies. Penuria's Purification. This one was one of the first TF2 spin-offs that I tried, and I must say, it was quite okay. In this game, Scout wants to get the cheater's lament, but is faced with his nemesis Ricardo, who is trying to sabotage the Scout's plan. This game was short but enjoyable. The levels were a little difficult to get through, but kept me engaged all throughout the little story that the game offered, and the art style was dope. While it's not much to keep playing and playing forever, but completing it once was not that bad. Cart Crawlers. Cart Crawlers reminded me of Enter the Gungeon. Both of them being dungeon crawlers, a genre that I truly like, I was able to squeeze a lot of fun out of the half an hour or an hour of me playing it. To win in the game, you have to push the cart through the randomly generated dungeons and defeat hordes of enemies along the way. There are quite a few levels to get through, and you get to enjoy many different classes that are similar, yet unique when compared to TF2. The enemies are also unique and can surprise you with many different attacks or attributes, helping card crawlers get to be one of my top contenders for today. Sandwich Maker. Sandwich. If you've ever held an old Nokia, chances are that it had this game called Tower Blocks. This game is rather similar, except maybe not as exciting. I was forced to stack cucumbers, ham, cheese, tomatoes and what looked to be onions on top of each other without failing more than 3 times, resulting in the messiest and most unstable sandwich I've ever seen. The game is short and straight to the point, but could be a fun 10 minutes spent with your friends trying to top each other's score. Gang Garrison 2. Gang Garrison is another very old TF2 spin-off. I tried playing it for 10 minutes or so, but having no online players anymore, the experience was very dull. For a fan game this old, it remains like a fun time that you could have if you managed to fill a server. I recall playing it many years ago when some folk was still enjoying it, and it was quite fun rediscovering each class and comparing them in a 2D setting. Fortunately, Jarma has an 11-year-old video on this game, so I highly recommend you check it out instead. Link in the description. Rocket Jump. First of all, this game's soundtrack is awesome. Seriously, it's worth booting it up even just for that. It's a browser game, so it was quite easy to start playing, and the fun lasted for quite a while. You rocket jump as soldier, collect hats for rewards, and move throughout checkpoints. It reminded me of a nostalgic game N++. It's very different, but the art style and level design kinda felt like it. The controls are a bit clunky, so rocket jumping consistently was a challenge, but was always worth the satisfaction that it would bring me. Your health depletes with each rocket and is regenerated over time, thus preventing nonsensical rocket spam just to lift yourself off the ground. Not much to say about it. A highly relaxing browser game with music that slaps. Spice Nightmare. Spice Nightmare is very similar to Capture the Intelligence, however this one had other plans for how intense it can get. You run around as spy and you have to click 11 buttons across the map to open the exit. And once you make it past the tense of scary and very excited to hug you heavies and get to the exit, the game just starts over. Since this is a demo, there is no conclusion or level 2, unfortunately. It was definitely one of the harder games on the list, and while short, it was still a little spook for my already pre-scared brain. Heavy Soundboard. Well, I really got thinking if there is anything I can tell you about this, but as I was spending the mandatory time to make an impression about this so-called game, I came up with a creative solution to describe it. Here it goes.
Ah, this is bad! Ah, this is bad! Нет, no! Boo! Нет, no! Нет, no! Ah, this is bad!
It's crap. 5 Nights at everything. While I had to sit through a few so-called horror games to make this video, the trend that was the most recognizable was 5 Nights at Freddy's clones. Defend 2 Fort, Defend 2 Fort 2, and 5 Nights at Happyrain in particular. Having never played a 5 Nights at Freddy's game ever, it was a bit difficult to grasp the controls and my objective, besides spotting the enemies and blocking the doors or shooting them. Nonetheless, I tried them all. So let's start with Defend 2 Fort. While it had pretty hectic and unintuitive controls, what's cool about it is that there were many different enemies and objectives that could kill you, like Scout, Sniper, Pyro, and a mango? A vegan? Similarly, the sequel to this offered various ways to die, but with a more intensity-inducing gameplay loop. You couldn't close the doors anymore and your last line of defense was a shotgun. Again, my lack of knowledge about FNAF made it difficult to enjoy these games properly, so I can only argue its controls, but for a first-timer, it was... Now, onto the other remake called 5 Nights at Happy's 1 and 2. These games are similar too, and both are not much different except the controls. They are more intuitive to use. In this game, however, only the heavy can attack you, making the overall impressions of the game lower. At least you can block the doors now, making me feel much safer spending the nights in Double Cross. The operating system of the tablet you can use to spot the enemies runs on Poot OS, which already puts the game ahead of all others. Spy crab. Gentlemen, I think we got a crab issue. In this simple game you have to avoid being snapped by the crabs, while picking them out of the puddle before the time runs out. The controls are very simple, the idea of the game is super clear, making it a goofy experience for that one single time you ever try it. MVM TF2, or Defense. This game has to be the most straightforward one on the list, besides maybe the spy crabs. Arrows to move, space to shoot, M to melee. Those are the full controls of our beloved sniper. While it is uncertain, I believe that in this game I had to defend my fortress from attacking MVM robots, using my sniper rifle with a badass laser, or perhaps the Machina, to kill as many enemies that I can. After a couple of waves, I thought I had come up with the best idea ever. So I started spamming the attack button, but that made my weapon choke. The laser was stuck in a single point on the map and I was unable to attack with the rifle anymore. Fortunately, the laser still killed people that ran into it, but I was forced to use my melee on every single other enemy. After a minute or so of trying, I was able to get it back, but after shooting a few more robots, I think the sniper started reloading, or maybe got annoying at shooting the rifle so much and decided not to anymore. While this game is very boring and straightforward, it did remind me of the Bog's Head series. It also had achievements, which was a rare sight in these spin-offs. Overtime. In Overtime, you control Miss Powling on her quest to the Badlands to kill the Mann brothers, but the mercenaries contracted by the brothers will do what it takes to stop you, so you have to kill them too. Or do you? This game features a vast overhaul of everyone's favorite RPG, Undertale. It features a similar map layout to Undertale, but everything from the visual aspect of it to the characters and bosses you meet along the way are completely new. So safe to say, it does not spoil its precursor. The estimated time to complete this game is 2 to 4 hours, but I've heard people playing it for much longer to take in the atmosphere. I tried it out a little and I was overwhelmed with just how good and down to the detail everything was changed when compared to Undertale. So, while we had some great games across this list, this one definitely takes the top. Great job, Deathstar! So, who would have thought that TF2 has more than 20 fan-made spin-offs, huh? Well, after playing most of them, I was left surprised with just how many cool games there are to try out. Sure, we had some simple and lazy ones, probably for the most part made by young people that are just getting started. But some of them were just pure enjoyment that could last for hours, and sometimes even in co-op. If you're slightly tired of playing Team Fortress 2 or simply want to expand your love for the game, consider checking them out, as I will leave links to all of them in the description. If you know any other games that I missed out on, please let me know in the comments below. For now, I'm out, but I'll see you very soon. Bye!